Hey everybody, what's up? My name is David.
And I'm Dylan.
And we're the Wet Rats. And if you're just joining us, you're in the middle of our, not quite the middle, but our 13 Days of Halloween
Just getting started.
horror movie extravaganza. Today we're talking about The Ring, the 2002 remake of the 1990s
Book Lord of the Rings.
8 classic, is it 8 or 6? I don't remember, but we're not doing the original. Real quick, we should address, on our last couple episodes, you may have realized, like, oh, we're wearing the same clothes. I am wearing the same shirt. Dylan's not.
I changed.
But there may be something else different about me, something a little spooky you might have noticed.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
So we only believe the illusion no matter what.
Yep. But anyways, so let's talk about this movie. This is a movie, I just want to say real quick, I've seen some like recent like videos and articles coming out where people are kind of reevaluating this movie and saying like, oh, you know what, this movie actually sucks. It's kind of shitty and not scary or whatever. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to have it on the list and not the original, because a lot of people don't really talk about the original recently. Plus, I haven't seen the original. I'm sure it's great. We actually are doing a couple Japanese horror films later on this list. The originals, not any remakes. But I thought the remake of this one is worth watching. I think it's well directed, and so, that's kind of why we went with the remake. It's the only time I think on this entire list we have a remake.
Yeah.
A lot of the movies we're watching have been remade.
But we're watching the originals.
Right. We're always watching the original films except in this one exception. And, that's kind of why. We wanted to at least do it one time. So, Dylan, you had never seen The Ring before. I've seen The Ring multiple times over the last 10 years or so. The first time I saw it, I was like 12, I think. I think I saw it around when it came out.
Oh, really?
Not when it came out in theaters, but I saw it like as soon as it came on home video.
Sure.
So, yeah, at the time, as a 12-year-old, this was the scariest thing I had ever seen in my life. So, as a 25-year-old, what did you think of The Ring?
It was spooky. It was pretty spooky. Ghosts are spooky. Little girls' ghosts are spooky.
Yep.
I can't decide what's scarier, though. What's the girl's name?
Samara.
Samara or that little boy?
Yeah.
That little boy was pretty creepy.
They definitely cast him well in this.
Like, if I woke up and one of them was, like, hovering over me in my sleep, I'd rather have it be the girl than...
I don't agree with that.
Really? I don't like that boy. I don't like him.
I do understand what people say, I think, when they mean that this movie is not as scary as maybe as it was when it came out. First of all, most of the people that I've seen saying that are a few years older than us, so they would have been pretty young when The Ring came out.
Sure.
Yeah, this movie is really scary when you're 12. It's not as scary when you're an adult.
Oh, are these just people on the internet reevaluating it, not like actual official people?
Right.
Okay. I thought you meant like a reviewer, then like they were just like, you know what, on second thought, I didn't like this movie.
I don't know if reviewers did.
Yeah, but kids, like when you're a kid and watch it, then you watch it as an adult, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Well, I just know specifically, I'll call them out. 5 Second Films did something.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on a different channel, but I know it was like Brian Frenzy and his girlfriend and some other people. And they have a series called like, Is It Still Scary? And the first one they did was The Ring. And it was basically them talking about it's not scary and it's a dumb movie.
Well,
and I think, here's my argument. Maybe it's not as scary as it was, but I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's so well directed. It's visually really good. That's the reason I wanted to do this one. I'm sure the original is visually great as well. But I love the direction. I love the art style on this. And plus, this is another one of those movies, we mentioned this with Scream and Halloween, that I think effects-wise really holds up. Yeah. This one has a lot more visual effects than the Scream and Halloween did.
Really good.
But it looks great. The visual effects don't look bad, I don't think. There's one thing that's like a little iffy, but it's like, how would you have done that realistically? And there's a part where a horse jumps off a boat. Yeah. And it kind of like...
But even then, that wasn't too terribly bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
Pretty good.
It's just like, you can kind of know, like, okay, they didn't really drop a horse off a boat. But yeah,
Yeah.
A
horse, of course.
Exactly. So this movie is actually directed by the guy who did the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. Yeah. Which is interesting. I kind of wish he would have done some more horror stuff.
But for me,
did a good job.
I think out of the ones we've watched so far, this is easily the scariest one.
Right.
Especially because ghosts are creepy, little kids are creepy. I will say, though, I think I didn't get as scared in some moments because I think I kept expecting... Again, it's one of those things where you see trailers so much you have in your head what it's going to be like. And to me, I've always thought this was a really, really scary movie. So, like, as soon as the beginning happened, I'm just like, great, I don't even get any buffers. I can go straight into all this crazy stuff.
Right.
And, like, the kill and murdering was just really kind of to a minimum, I guess, per se.
Yes.
Which kind of just, like, looks at him and then they, like, kind of die. There's not really a whole...
Right. It almost seems like there's something there that happens that we don't really see. And I think, I could be wrong, again, I have not seen the original. I think that's also how it happens in the original. Okay. I think there's sort of meant to be that mystery. And in a way that's creepy because like at the beginning we see this girl and like we see like the life being like sucked out of her face, but we don't really see what happens. And then later on we see that she's found in a closet with her like face horribly disfigured, and that's creepy. Like it's like, how did you get from there to there?
Right.
And like the same thing later when the guy's like on the ground, or Noah or whatever, and then he's in the chair all of a sudden.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't catch by now, obviously we're spoiling this, so sorry if you haven't seen it.
To me, that's one of those things where that's really, really creepy, but I also like, I think one thing I got spoiled on is like watching It Follows, and you see what happens when she does something, but you don't see it yet. Right. And then you see her like actually killing somebody, and then it's just like super dry. Like that image sticks in your head for a long time.
And I think part of that too is like this was PG-13.
Yes.
This wasn't an R-rated horror movie. And actually, originally, I was just reading some of the trivia. Apparently, there were some scenes that were more graphic, though I don't think those scenes were.
Oh yeah.
There apparently when like before she's dropped in the well. Because in the movie, the way you see it now is like they just put a bag over her head, her mom puts a bag over her head, and just kind of drops her in.
Yeah.
Apparently in the original, that's not how it happened. First she tries to strangle her with the bag, doesn't work, so she picks up a rock and starts beating her head with it. Doesn't work, so she slams her against the side of the well, and then thinks she's dead, and then drops her in.
Dang.
So apparently they had to cut some of that.
Like, it makes it seem like when because they had film, obviously, when they're doing all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You had guns. Shoot her. I mean, why you gotta be a bitch about it, strangling your daughter? Like, just shoot her.
Yeah. I mean, because it wasn't that long ago.
Was that? I mean, you supposedly still love your daughter, but recognize she's like evil incarnate. So, at least like shoot her or cut her throat or
a little
more humane than like strangling her.
Yeah, strangling her and then beating her with a rock. Yeah, it's a little excessive. Like I get the dropping into the well bit, sure, but like take care of it first. Like if you really think your daughter is evil, take care of it.
Because like. There was like a moment where, until you like find out the real afterwards, of like, she is evil and wants to get her well. There's that moment where I was just like, this isn't really that scary. This is just really tragic. This poor girl is abused by her parents. Then of course you find out she's this evil shit. But I'm also, where the fuck did that top of the rock come from? Because that was nowhere when they showed the well.
The what?
Where they put like the thing over it. So there's just, I guess like, the time could have passed. But it just shows her dropping the well, and all of a sudden, there's no way that mom lifted the fucking
right.
That didn't happen. No way.
Maybe the dad was like waiting in the bushes and he came and helped her out. I don't know.
But yeah, for the most part, going back on like people were reading it later, I feel like there's really nothing in that movie where I was just like, oh, come on, there's no way that would be something, you know?
Right.
Nothing seemed like that far-fetched or that far from.
Yeah, I could understand in terms of looking at, is it still as scary? Maybe it's not as scary. I totally get that. To me, I don't really get scared by this movie anymore. Right. But I think it's a good story. I think it's well acted. On all parts. There was nobody in this movie that really was like, get this guy off the screen. And just really well directed. I think the music's great. Hans Zimmer does the score. It's great. Because, I mean, if you've seen something you know what's going to happen and you're an adult, the scary factor is probably going to go away. It's still going to be creepy. Yeah. But probably the scary factor is going to be as an adult, movies are less scary. And the ones that are usually the ones that you don't really know about. Right. The ones that are big, like, in pop culture, you kind of know some of the parts. You know, like her crawling out of the well. You may have seen that before. Like, stuff like that.
And typically, now what gets me as an adult is the shock factor stuff, which to me is just kind of like, sometimes it doesn't even count. Right. Because it's just, it's cheap.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited to watch the actual Japanese originals we're going to be watching.
If it's like jump scares or like over excessive gore, that really creeps me out. But I mean, that's it's going to like get anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. That just makes me mad when I see that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's poorly done. I will say,
it's not scary.
You can do that in a good way. Sometimes jump scares are amazingly good.
If you've earned it,
If you've earned it, and also sometimes even excessive gore can be really good, but usually those are a big turnoff to me. Yeah. Usually that makes me
easy.
Over.
Yeah, because people don't really try it, they just do it. It's just too easy.
Right, yeah. If they do it in a way that's earned, then they actually work towards it, and it wasn't easy.
It's not like I'm actually scared of it, it's just like, okay, come on, that's just cheap, of course.
Right, yeah. I mean, I definitely have a reaction when I see stuff like that. I mean, it's impossible to not have a reaction. Exactly. And that's the problem when people talk about, like, if jump scares are good or not, because they work. I mean, if you're doing a comedy movie, and there's a jump scare out of nowhere, people are going to jump in their seats because they weren't expecting it. That's the whole point of a jump scare. Yeah. I mean, we could put a jump scare in this video right now, or we could have done it 10 seconds ago, and you probably jumped. But that doesn't mean it was actually scary. It was a loud-ass noise and a big flash.
I've had a cat jump out of a bush at me, and I jumped, but I wasn't scared of a cat.
Right, exactly.
It's your surprise.
A jump scare should be something that already is scary, and it's being scary in a new way. Yeah. This is maybe a little bit of a derail. I don't know if people will even, because we're talking about movies, maybe you don't know about this, but the video game PT has the jump scare where you're already scared of this ghost. Yeah. You already know it's there. You've seen it, and then it jump scares you.
Yeah.
it's already established what you're dealing with, and then the jump scare is like feels more earned. And then when you do see the jump scare and you see the thing that scares you, it's like so creepy looking. It's not a dumb fake scare of a cat or a window closing or a friend like grabbing your shoulder and like coming up from behind.
Right.
It's
because
a good
like
one.
you already established that ghost is in that room.
Yes.
You're already expecting it to happen at any second. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what's falling around in something. So you worth it because it built the anticipation and paid it off.
And it's not fake.
It's not fake.
The big problem with fake jump scares is they ruin real jump scares. If your movie has a lot of fake ones, by the time you get to the real ones, you're kind of over it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like they're saying like, haha, we got you. But it's like, okay, well, why?
Yeah.
Like, why did you do
That's
that?
why I really hate the whole like...
It almost proves how shitty they are.
Yes.
By doing that fake one, it proves how easy it is.
Yeah, even as much as I loved It Follows, it has a couple of those fake jump scares, and they really bug me because it's like, I hate the whole like, oh, your friend snuck up behind you, haha, scared. That ruins the real scares. That stuff drives me crazy. But anyways, I don't think The Ring does that. I think The Ring has jump scares, but they're minimal and they're good.
Right.
Like there's the one where she's having like the sort of hallucinatory dream, and she like walks into the room and sees like Samara sitting in the chair, and she like walks up to her and her arm like reaches out and grabs her. It's like a zombie arm or whatever. That's a jump scare, but it's good. It's like creepy. You see that fucked up arm. It's this creepy girl. It works really well. Or there's earlier in the movie, sorry, we got a little bit of a hiccup there. Earlier in the movie when the mom is like, I found my daughter, and then it like flashes to the image of the daughter, and there's like a loud, like high-pitched noise. That's kind of a jump scare. It's a loud noise and a flash of an image. It's a jump scare, but it's so creepy.
Right.
Her face is like, fuck. I don't know if that was practical makeup or what, but man, they did a good job with that. Because that I remember as a kid when I watched this, that was like one of the big images that stuck to me. That, and at the very end when they do, there's like a quick second when they show you what Noah's face looked like.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually show it when she walks into the room and spins the chair. It's just her reaction. But there's just a flash where you see it, and it's like, oh, fuck.
I kind of like it too because they're not like other ones where it's just like, boom, someone popped up in your face. It's just like jarring image, like right away.
Exactly, it's a disturbing image.
Yeah,
and that's much more effective than just like a big thing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe you're not going to be totally scared of this movie. And I know back to the 5-second film thing or whatever. I don't think it was actually 5-second films that did it, but it was some of the people involved.
Okay.
When they talked about it, they talked about how like this movie is a lot of the fear of like technology. And I get that that's the underlying theme.
Yeah,
because it is about like TVs.
Yeah, and so you started talking about all that bullshit.
Yeah, it's definitely an underlying theme, no doubt. But as a 12-year-old, I didn't watch this movie and go, oh man, I'm scared of cell phones.
Right.
Maybe I was a little scared of the TV itself, like that it would come on and be all staticky. But I wasn't like scared to watch the Drew Carey show or whatever I was watching when I was 12. I don't know. I don't know if that's what I was watching when I was 12.
Yeah, Cleveland Rocks. So like one thing I was when I watched this movie though about the technology thing. If you saw that video and you locked yourself in a cabin with like no TV, no technology, anything, would anything ever happen?
I don't know.
Because they never established like...
Yeah, that's one of those situations in horror movies that you don't really know how that would pan out. I don't know. That's if you cut yourself off from technology for 7 days, would you be all right? Or maybe you'd have to cut yourself off your whole life, because even if maybe you made it past the 7 days, you decide to go back 10 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people live without technology stuff like all the time. They could totally do that.
That's true. But man, that would be a shitty life.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think, though it's an obvious theme that technology is meant to be sort of scary in this, again, I don't think that's the scary thing in the movie. It's this creepy little girl. Yeah. Like, that's what's scary. I wasn't scared of the TV itself. I was scared that a creepy-ass girl was going to crawl out of a well and come out of my TV. It was just
evil for no explanation other than evil.
Yes.
Like, there's not like she did a curse thing.
Yeah, just similar to Halloween.
Or because her parents murdered her. Her parents murdered her because she was evil.
Right. It's honestly kind of similar to Halloween, because the whole thing of Halloween is like, they didn't kill him, but they locked him away and he managed to escape and is still coming back and doing all this stuff. And they mention in that movie that he's like evil incarnate. And that's kind of what's going on here. Yeah. Obviously that's a very common cliche in horror movies. So we're going to probably see that a lot in some of the movies going forward. But I still think this movie holds up in almost every way. Maybe some of the impact is gone, but I don't know. I don't have anything really negative to say about it. Maybe that's partly like because I saw it when I was younger and I have nostalgia for it. But I don't know. I think this is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's not the best horror movie of all time. I think
one of the best ways to tell if a horror movie is just good in general is something I guess I knew the bits for The Ring for this. Like I knew the TV thing, the watching the video stuff. But I was really curious to watch this for one thing of I don't know the actual story that gets from point A to point B and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's
and
true
this
too.
one
It's
had
like,
a really good
it's
story.
a good mystery.
It was
story.
a really cool like investigative journalism like type mystery thing. It's like
Yeah.
so here's this scary movie with all this really cool like mystery movie going.
Exactly.
And I thought that was really, really
and that's what, even if you watch it and you're not as scared, I still think it's a compelling story to
Yeah.
watch and like explore and see where it goes. Which I think puts it above, a notch above a lot of the other shitty horror movies that get made, especially shitty remakes that get made, because a lot of them don't really do a good job with that. Couple small things I want to mention. These are just some fun facts, just from like IMDb and stuff. But like when they first,
well, like a fun facts thing. Right?
yeah, fun facts on the screen. When they first were doing like TV trailers for this, they actually just played the actual video from the movie, that creepy ass video that plays.
Which is really, really cool.
They just played that, didn't say The Ring coming soon or anything. That was it. The commercial was just that video, and then it moved on to the next commercial. It'd be like that, and then an Allstate commercial. No preview for The Ring. It didn't say watch this movie. It didn't say coming soon. It was just the video. Imagine just being in your apartment. It's late at night. You just finished the new episode of Cowboy Bebop, and that thing comes on. It's like, what the fuck?
And like the internet was still there, but not like super prominent as it now.
Exactly.
So like, where would you go to like talk to people about that? And be like,
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And also on that same note, they put an Easter egg on the DVD and Blu-ray. It's also on a VHS, I found out.
Oh.
Which on the DVD and Blu-ray, it's a hidden Easter egg, so you have to like look for it, which is already cool. And it's just the video that plays. And apparently, and I'm not sure if this is true on the Blu-ray version, but apparently, at least on the DVD version, when you play it, it totally locks your remote. You can't back out of the video.
Really?
You can't fast forward it. Your remote is locked, and then you go back to the menu. It's the main menu again or whatever, and then they play a phone ring cue, which it's cheesy or whatever.
Sure.
But I love that Easter egg just because they went to the effort to do that. Like, what other movie, like whatever, has on the menu there is a hidden audio cue that's only triggered when you find this Easter egg?
Yeah.
Just for the purpose of trying to scare you.
Because like it's the whole thing of like, you never see the whole video yourself when you watch the movie.
Exactly.
So the whole time you're thinking, well, I'm safe. And then they show you the video. Because now it's like, now good luck trying to fall asleep tonight.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think, honestly, like, that might be my favorite Easter egg on a disc ever.
Really?
Like, I don't know if people care about favorite Easter egg or whatever, but to me, most Easter eggs are just, oh, you found it, you watch this 30-second funny thing. That's cool and all, I like that. But I like that this isn't just watch this thing. It's tied into the plot of it. It actually connects to the movie. I'm reading too much into it, but I don't know. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think more people need to have stuff like that. Because, I mean, we talked about this, I think, when we talked about Scream, but a lot of movies don't even do really much special features anymore.
No, not really.
So this was still in that era where, like, we were doing... Or no, it was in our Silent Hill discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of people are doing that kind of stuff anymore.
It's like, yeah, like, I guess I don't want to go back into tangent. Never mind.
Yeah. But anyways, another quick thing, as far as, like, stuff that I don't really see a lot in movies anymore, there's a lot of, like, subliminal images in this. Like, occasionally, like, the ring will just flash on screen for, like, a frame. I really like that. Why don't movies do that anymore? Because, like, that was a big thing of Fight Club as well. Like, all this stuff that would just, like, quickly flash. It'd be, like, 1 or 2 frames. Did you see it or not? And, like, I think that's really cool when that's spliced into a movie like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's something that people don't really do as much anymore.
Because it just was, like, reminding you all the time that scary stuff is happening.
Right, and obviously it doesn't apply to every movie, but if it's a psychological type movie where something is meant to be happening either to you as an audience member or to the characters in the movie, it makes sense that there's like creepy stuff flashing.
Well, like another creepy stuff too, like the kind of I really like that one girl didn't die. It explains you have to watch the video to die, so you still gonna like that's just gonna fucked up stuff's gonna happen, and you're gonna like have all this knowledge or whatever apparently, but you don't die because just like still plays by the rules. I always love when certain things have rules. It's like they just don't kill for sake of killing kind of thing. It's like, no, we do these things very specifically.
Exactly.
Like because to me, that's even scarier.
Right.
That's even scarier.
One more quick thing, and this is, I think, also true in the Japanese original. I think so. Again, I haven't seen it. But when Samara, or is it Tamara or Samara? I always get it mixed up. It's Samara.
No, it's T and Tamara.
What?
T and Tamara. Sister.
God damn it. When she comes out of the well and she does like that walk towards the camera, like she actually, that was recorded backwards, and they played it. Which I'm just being like a film, I don't want to say geek or whatever, because that's a dumb word, but being a film geek, I always like when stuff is like reversed or stuff like that, and then like played in a certain way.
Because it does look really weird when she's walking.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, kudos to that girl. She did a really good job.
Yeah, for sure. I think that girl is the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch.
Really?
I think so. So very, very different roles.
Yeah. They're about the same. Have you seen Lilo and Stitch?
I only saw the first one. I didn't see. Does the second one take a
Oh, I
turn?
didn't even know they had a sequel.
Yep. And they had a whole TV show too.
Yeah, I did watch the TV show.
I never watched that. Anyways, that's a fun tangent. Anything else about The Ring?
No.
I think that's about it. All right. What did you guys think of The Ring when you rewatched it? Do you think it's shitty now? Do you still think it holds up? Do you just not like it at all? Let us know. We're curious to hear what other people have to say about it now that it's aged a little bit, 13 years.
I think it's still good.
Yeah.
As a person who hadn't seen the movie back then, I can watch it now, and for me, it could still be a 2015 movie.
Yep. I will say, real quick, The Ring and the original Japanese movie, just Ring, did kind of, and again, we always talk about, like, don't blame the thing that started a trend, but they did sort of start a trend that kind of ruined movies for a while. Like, this is one of those movies, this and Blair Witch Project, which we'll be watching tomorrow night, join us for that. Those kind of started this trend of, like, sort of ruining movies, because it showed that you could do, like, a movie where it was just, like, people, like, Blair Witch showed, like, you could just do a movie where people are just, like, on screen doing nothing. And The Ring showed, like, creepy kids.
Yeah.
And, like, not that that hadn't been, I mean, even the Omen that we're going to be watching later is a creepy kid. But I think this kind of reinvigorated that.
Yeah.
Because then this kicked off this huge, huge trend of, like, all these movies about that.
Yeah,
Some
like
of which were good. Like, Ju-on the Grudge is good, but the remake was shitty. Dark Water was good, but the remake was shitty. So it really was American movies
that
trying
little girl,
to keep...
that orphan girl thingy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, is that movie just called Orphan?
It might be.
I think it is. So many movies have tried to kind of, like, cash in on that. Specifically, this kind of look of them. Like the long hair, kind of face covered up, the face is all, like, kind of white or zombified. Ju-on the Grudge does it as well. I think Ju-on the Grudge is great. But again, it was American people trying to do that that I think started to ruin it, because they just drove it into the ground. I mean, The Ring 2. The Ring had a sequel.
Yeah.
And it's, from what I understand, a pile of shit. And it's even the same cast. They're back.
Really?
And I believe, and maybe I'm talking to my ass, but I'm pretty sure the director of The Ring 2, the American movie, is the guy who directed the Japanese Ring.
What?
Which is weird. Why did, like, you had the same cast, everybody that survived this movie, and you have the original director of the original movie. What happened?
What could have possibly happened to fuck that up? That's so weird.
Maybe next year we'll watch The Ring 2.
Yeah.
But anyways, so again, let us know what you think about it. Be sure to join us for the Blair Witch Project tomorrow.
Yep, looking forward to that.
And goodbye.
Bye-bye.